Okay, I just wanted to check in. Black people update. Black person checking in here. In light of all these current events, I just felt it was important for me as a person of color, a woman of color, a African American woman of color, to voice my emotional state right now during this time of unrest in our country. If you live in the United States, and even if you don't live in the United States, most of us are aware of what is happening right now. I just wanted to voice my opinion and how this is affecting me personally, just to kind of broaden the perspective, enlighten the public or the majority of people watching this video to how this is affecting people of my background. So first off, I would like to extend my deepest grievances and condolences to George Floyd and his family and the hundreds of other African American people who have been victims of any type of police brutality or systematic violence. Where I do identify universally as a Black woman to the systematic oppression and trauma that has plagued my people for generations, and it still affects me regularly with the rest of my community on a regular basis. That as well, working in corporate America, so I have had my own experiences as a Black person or a person of color, to which I can completely agree with today's current events and why they are happening. So I guess I just wanted to get on here, not doing the most as myself, to just kind of, I don't want to say clarify, but like to present a new experience that some people might have not openly explained or confessed to during this time of transition. That's what I'm going to call this, is a time of transition. These instances are not a coincidence. What's currently happening in this country is not a coincidence. Like, it was only a matter of time that we were really going to see the results of ignoring people's experiences, their truths. I personally feel very confused right now during this time because there are so many different things that are being experienced right now. And as a Black person, I feel as if it's hard to quantify our true grief or devastation concerning this issue, which is why many of us have declined to freely speak on our true feelings, and because we're still processing them. So me being a highly empathetic person, like, that's how I live my life, that's who I am as a person. And as much as I've had people around me expect for me to react in uproar for things that clearly made them angry, and I'm not saying that to say that I'm not angry or frustrated about this situation, but when you are a person that is non-confrontational or that has anxiety or deals with emotional trauma in some sort of way, your reaction is going to be different to certain situations. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sure if what I'm saying is making sense. Like I said, this is a very hard subject to talk about. I'm actually very sad. Despite my countenance, I'm like very upset and disappointed and very confused as a Black woman, as a Black person, as a person, as a human in general, to what's going on. Logically, what's happening makes sense, but emotionally, which is how I tend to process things, it's just a very overwhelming anxiety that I'm experiencing personally. And just, I have so many questions and concerns about what the near future is going to look like. So Something that I've been noticing a lot, like I've been trying to stay away from social media, but honestly, to be truthful, it's just a part of my daily habit. Like it's like a ritual, and also it's a distraction as well from just regular life things. But I've been seeing a lot that people that I interact with on a daily, or at least when this first started, these protests, that many people of color and non-people of color have been very quick to respond with how others are processing this type of grief in our country. And I feel as if, me being a Black woman, I don't feel as if anybody should be telling me how to emotionally process what's happening right now, or how I should be responding in this instances, whether I want to lay in bed and cry, or if I want to completely just focus on maintaining my mental health for my own sanity. I feel like people just have been out of pocket with telling others how they should be reacting to the climate of these current events. So I would like to point out for people of color, we clearly have a deep buried trauma within our community that has been perpetuated for generations, and many of us respond very, very differently to things that have happened to us. So if there is a Black person in your community, or, if there are members of our community that are not responding emotionally to how you feel they should be reacting, more than likely it's because they're still trying to process a situation. Like, the spirit of this is all very heavy, and there's been so much judgment passed on each other as we're moving towards a common goal for how each of us play our part in this. And I feel like right now what we need more than anything is empathy, because that's what's lacking, and is part of the reason why things have perpetuated for so long, in my opinion. When I say I'm confused, I mean like there's really no way to really grasp the frustration, the pain. For a Black person, this is simply confusing because we are indeed citizens of this country that we built. Also, Black people have been enduring this for centuries, for so long. We have to consistently get up every day and put our pride to the side to exist in this country. So what we're seeing here is not anything that is not, in my opinion, that's not deserved. It's just a lot. Black people who are responding in rage or in anger, your anger is completely just, and without it, we would have not made the nation wake up to the point where it's at right now. But at the same time, I feel as if it's very important for everyone's mental health to check in with each other, us as a Black community, and check on our friends and family. Everybody is not okay during this time, and some people mask it better than others. If someone decides that their response is not immediate outrage, it does not mean that they are not angry. Some people deal with anxiety and depression, and some people are taking the time to choose their words wisely because they realize that words are impactful. So it is important that you stand up for what you believe in during this time, but it's not simply through words. It's not simply through social media. It's through your actions. This is a very delicate time, for all of us. let me not go on my rant. I'm going to refrain from what I have to say about all of this nonsense with the White House and how America is being handled right now, but we all have our opinions. But as the United States of America, we are a country first. Like, people are people first. So the time that we have to live in as Black people to know that we do all this work consistently to never be acknowledged, to not be considered anytime any people has gone back to a system of not acknowledging human life is very disturbing. You would think that we would have moved past this already because we have lost so many people, not even just Black people. We've lost so many people to hatred, whether it's hate crimes or people witnessing these things and allowing these evils to persist just on an everyday scale. It's just so important more than ever right now to set a better example. And all of these examples do not come from violence. That's how people died. And I feel like, although I do understand the grief and the frustration behind it, we're perpetuating a cycle and it has to stop. Me being a Black Christian woman, I feel like this is a very weird space and time to exist in, like, or a person of faith in general, because our methods of advancement are seen as not taking action. But if we were to closely study the leaders that have impacted things on a more permanent scale, these people and their processes were the exact opposite of what we thought we should have been doing. So, me personally, it's been very hard for me to process this whole experience. As a Black person, it is just, it's very overwhelming on a day-to-day scale of just trying to do enough to survive so that we can work towards having things that we deserve. It's tiring. It's very tiring. And it hurts me to see that so many people are so heartbroken. But something has to change, and we can change things. Like, I don't care who does or does not see this video, I'm posting it because I want people to know that when you come to my YouTube page that I support Black people. I am Black. Also brings about the point that, you know, we're all different people and we just have to do the best we can in this situation. So, speaking out openly about this situation is not acknowledging what's happening. I think the most important thing that we can do right now is to educate each other, educate ourselves, to practice love and kindness regardless of how other people are treating us. Love is the most powerful thing. Like, when you experience true unconditional love, you'll change. is just way more powerful than to meet somebody with the same energy. And I think that's what could change right now. My experience being a Black person is completely unique to that of every African American or Black person. You know, we all have different experiences, and there isn't one way to experience being Black or identifying with being Black. It's not a title or a costume that you can wear or put on. I just wish that people understood that my skin doesn't make me a threat, or that we are deemed a threat. We are some of the most loving and supportive people that exist on this planet. But I think the real issue is, how do we make this stick? Like, how do we make 400 years of empathy stick to people who haven't dealt with generational trauma or oppression? Everyone has their own ideas of how we could be effective during this time. And you know, the people that aren't jumping out in the streets right now, these could be the people that jump on the front lines later. This is just a time where we need to support each other. We don't need to judge each other, and we need to practice what we preach. Don't enjoy innocent people dying or losing their lives for just wicked reasons that are not even tangible. Like, this is not how the world is supposed to be right now. Not with the years of death and bloodshed that have been had. I've gone so off topic, to be honest. I'm not even sure if what I'm saying is making sense, but my clear message is, please, during this time, to everyone, do not be judgmental. My other point is, we need to communicate within the Black community instead of crucifying each other for having differing beliefs about how this should be handled. My third point is that we need empathy in our community. Whether you're Black or non-Black, we need empathy, and we don't need false empathy. And my last point is that we need to meet all of this aggression with healing. Like, we need to actively work on healing ourselves and healing each other through practicing love on an everyday basis, especially to people or non-people of color. Like, this is where you can change history, right? The last thing I'm gonna say is, like, the biggest thing that we could change through all of this is doing the work internally as people, including myself. Like, so much has happened this year with losing people that we have idolized and immortalized because they were so different from us. Like, me, I want to personally try to make sure that I raise my children, my future children, in a way to which their lives are a walking testimony to what my ancestors gave up. So what I'm saying right now is, me personally, I'm going to take the steps necessary to ensure that my life is a walking reflection of these changes that need to be made. It's great that we're protesting, but we all also have to do the work internally, because this has to stick this time. We are good people. Like, me personally, I mean, I am not going to sit up here and act like I understand what it's like to have a gun held to my head, or to have somebody chase me down, or to have somebody jump me or put their knee on my neck for 9 minutes. Like, me, I'm just not that type of person. Although I acknowledge what is happening right now in the current climate of our country, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to specifically claim what happened like it happened to me. And I'm not going to respond with violence, because that's not honoring this person's memory either. That's how he died, which is why I don't understand why people think it's okay to harm others. Honestly, right now, I personally feel like the family who is going through this traumatic loss should not even have to make or release statements. I feel as if it's causing more anxiety, more grief, more angst, and more pain, because they're having to chronically wake up every day and relive the same experience like it's their own personal hell. So, although I understand certain people's ideologies and methods of how they believe we should achieve justice, me personally, I just can't respond that way. Because I know if this happened to me or my brother or my father or my dad or my cousin or my uncle, I would just want to would want to bring them back, or at least for their death to not be in vain. And I would just want to grieve, to be honest. Like, it really sucks. Most of us know what it feels like to lose somebody that is close to you. And if all this was occurring when you're just trying to process what was going on or what happened, I can't even imagine. Like, it's just unfathomable to me that nobody is even considering this. Like, our cause is just, but it needs to be effective, and we need to be respectful in our own way. We can still flip some tables, but we don't have to hurt nobody. But to the Black community, I hope everybody is doing well and that you're safe and that you're okay and that your emotional health is doing okay. I mean, as best as you can. That's all we have to do is practice being a good person. Like, if you can succeed throughout the day and be a good person to every person, then I think we're making progress. That's it. That's it.